Alex Dumas leads the Superbike Championship by 21 points over Ben Young heading into the last race of the season. Now Alex needs only a 5th place finish or better to clinch. But giving up isn't in Braveheart's DNA. Can Ben Young come from behind to take the plate away from Dumas? Hello everyone and welcome to Calabogie Motorsports Park and the final round of the CSBK Superbike National Championships. Brought to you by Yuasa Battery, Mopar, and Joe Rocket.
Perfect day here at Calabogie, final meaningful national event of the season as the Pro Superbike feature riders head out for their single warm-up lap. And the story, of course, is that battle for the #1 plate. Jordan Zoek no longer potentially able to renew that championship. No. He is now mathematically eliminated, but that doesn't mean that we aren't going to be in for some hardcore action at the front, likely with Dumas, who's been very fast every time we've been here at this venue, and of course Ben Young, who just earned our Yuasa Battery pole position championship by being the best overall. But of course he didn't sweep because Dumas finally pushed him off that crown, and there you can see Ben Young getting the title.
Let's talk to Hannah in the hot pit.
Thanks, Frank. Heading into the last race of the championship, Alex Dumas has one hand on the trophy with the 21-point lead over Ben Young. We spoke to Patrice Goyette, his crew chief, who says Alex will be pushing hard from the start, and we'll see how the race plays out. Back to you guys.
Thank you for that, Hannah. Now it is time for the final Superbike race of the 2021 season. The field is presently under starters' orders. We anticipate seeing the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers starting lights. There they are. The lights are starting to come on. As the lights are all on, now the riders are totally focused. The lights have gone off and we are away. And that was a very good start for the top 3 riders on the front row. But it is Alex Dumas who will lead them down in through the kink.
Yeah, and I don't know if you saw that. Jordan Zoek making some time, made a couple of moves there. Trevor Daly, a little bit of pushing and shoving, and Tremblay, who unfortunately is on his 600.
And Ben Young gathering up the lead there as they come out of turn #1. He has passed Alex Dumas, and obviously he has to win today, and he has shown that intention right from the get-go. He wasn't 200 yards into this race before he took the point.
Young leading. Here we go on board with the 2nd place Suzuki of Dumas as they head into this long right-hand turn. Really great shot of Young leaning that BMW over, and Zoek, our former title protagonist, jammed right onto the back of Dumas' Suzuki.
You know, after the 2 wins at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, I really thought that the People's Champion was going to make a comeback. I thought perhaps he was absolutely going to wrap up his 15th, but obviously that has been put to bed. It is now between Braveheart and Dumas.
Into temptation there, everybody taking a pretty tight line, being conservative. I believe that's Daly on his Suzuki in 4th. He qualified on the front row, and that is Sam Garin on his BMW. We've seen him fast here before, but worth mentioning, Frank, we do not have that deep a field. We had a fair bit of attrition from the race earlier today, and that has hurt the chances of something getting going at the front that would allow Young to push Dumas further back in the standing. So it's going to be very, very hard for Young to make this work. He needs some help from people like Jordan and Tremblay.
Quite so, and they're not there. Garan is indeed just ahead of Trevor Daly. Or just behind Trevor Daly, I should say. Daly holding on to 4th spot now. We'll pick up on them as they come up and over that rise. And it is Braveheart getting a little bit of distance as they head down now into the bowl.
And at this point, it's tough for Young, because does he try and really set an aggressive pace and see if he can lure Dumas into a battle that doesn't suit Dumas, or does he slow the pace and try and get the field mixed up and maybe something surprising happens? Of course, we're only 1 lap in.
And in that lap, Daly has closed up the gap big time, as he is now very much a part of the top 4, where he was in a little bit of distance behind them when last seen.
Yeah, great shot of the 3 riders who've been battling for the title throughout the season, and of course the 2 guys who can still take the title are going at it for the lead, and I think Young has decided to slow it down maybe just a tad, back it up and see what can happen. Again, very early days, but but this is it. Whatever's going to happen has to come out of today's race, and you can see there Dumas not being in the least bit aggressive. You can see second place suits him just fine, particularly this early in the race.
Yeah, he's just biding his time, and he has already wrapped up the Rookie of the Year award, Brooklyn Cycle Racing Rookie of the Year award, and we look down at our running order and note that the number 5 rider in 7th spot there, Royds, who is sponsored by the IBEW, is finished in 2nd spot in that particular facet of our sport. That's
and
a rookie.
Unfortunately for Royds, lately he's been just behind the shot, so we haven't seen him very often, but he has been making steady progress, and that has been very encouraging in terms of his pace and the potential for him moving forward to eventually wind up here near the front with the group we're watching right now.
I need to be corrected if need be, but I believe that Royds and Leon now have hooked up a little bit, and we've gone to a red flag here. I'm not sure what the problem is, but red flag is being shown here as we pull this one to a stop. Let's see if we can get some information on that.
And that's difficult for Young because, of course, he was playing it the way he wanted, and he had a little bit of control on that race. Let's have a look around and see if we can figure out what's going on, but they will come in and we'll start again from scratch.
And that looks like Guillaume Fortin. It is, yeah. Fortin has made that crash. He appears to be all right, Colin.
Yeah, hard to tell, but he's sitting up, so that's always a positive sign. And now we go back to the pits, get ready for another warm-up lap. The race distance will be shortened to accommodate those changes, and we'll have more fun at Calabogie coming up shortly.
Closed captioning of this broadcast is brought to you in part by Godrich Toyota, Traction Heavy Duty Parts, MotorcycleCourse.com, and Revs for Rent, CSBK's official charity. Well, for the second time, we will go to the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers to set us off in pursuit. And Colin, this race has been shortened. As a matter of fact, as you mentioned, we're down to 8 laps for this National Championship final.
And unfortunately, Fortin will not be taking part in the restart with his Suzuki.
We're watching the lights. The lights are all on. The riders' pupils are starting to dilate now, and that goes along. Oh, and a beautiful start there on the outside. I believe that was, yes, it was. Alex Dumas has taken the race lead, and if I'm not mistaken, that is Trevor Daly, a Suzuki teammate, who has snuck into second spot right in behind him.
Yeah, good start for Garant too, and Young already pushing and shoving, but he did not get a good start after such a great launch in our boarded first portion there. Tremblay on his 600 right with Zoke in 5th. So a slightly different group playing here, but full marks for Young. He managed to get out of there more or less in one piece, and it wasn't pretty. Okay, let's go to our replay. Now we're on board here with Young, and you look at Jordan there using more than all the track, and definitely in no mood to be patient, and good for Jordan. And there you can see Ben Young, that when we first picked up that back shot from Zoke's Kawasaki, sure didn't look like there was enough room for a Superbike there.
No, and that has put Braveheart into a distinct pressure cooker already. Of course, when last seen after the first start, Ben Young did have the race lead, but now we find him in 3rd spot. He has got his work cut out for him big time.
Yeah, solid pressure here from Young, and he has to get after Trevor right away, although ideally, and let's see what happens, Young's swinging really wide there as Jordan's coming underneath. I don't know if there was a pass there or not. Yeah, wow.
Yes, it was.
That was
beautiful.
Just when I was saying Young needs to be ambitious, he was very ambitious.
Very much so, and he has moved into 2nd spot, and now he sets off in pursuit of the brat from Quebec, Alex Dumas, who has the point at this point in time, but the pressure is solidly on Braveheart's shoulders. There's nothing he can do but win this race and hope that perhaps Dumas might slip back into 5th spot.
But he needs Daly and Zoke and anybody to join in. Garant would help a lot, but it just, Dumas has a clear track in front of him. He's been in this situation a fair bit this season, and he hasn't made, as near as I can tell, hardly any mistakes. And right now he is in such a good spot to control the pace, and from his point of view, this is ideal, right? He can manage this, see what the gap's like, and maybe he won't even have to push that hard. Of course, he qualified on pole here with some of the most impressive laps we've ever seen on this track.
And the battle going on behind him is what we're focused on right now, is Trevor Daly, Jordan Zoke, and Ben Young. Those 3 riders have got the gloves off now, and they're starting to duke it out. But again, Alex has got some asphalt between himself and those in pursuit, and it doesn't look like anybody's putting any inroads.
For this brief moment when we're following Dumas, well, no, let's go on board with Zoke, and we have a good look at the back. I believe that's Trevor Daly's Suzuki. So this is 4th place Zoke, and he's pushing Daly. They had a bit of a dispute in our opener race here at Calabogie, so a little bit of entertaining history there. At the time, I thought Trevor was being pretty careful around Zoke. It'll be interesting now that Zoke can't win the title if the gloves are, as you say, off in this situation.
Oh, man, that was close as Trevor Daly swoops across the front end of Jordan Zoke, and I'm not sure who, if anyone, is at fault there calling your comments.
Oh, there's no fault at all, but the funny thing is, yeah, so right here, Jordan has a plan, right? This doesn't mean the pass is done. This is a long turn, and he just works his way inside on the tight line. Now we go on board with Trevor Suzuki, and we can see lots of action, and, you know, theoretically, Daly could have gone back under, and if that seems slightly familiar, that was Zoke and McCormick over a decade ago. 3 passes, 1 turn, 1 lap for the lead, and that was on the last lap.
Yeah, how many times have we seen that type of action? And of course, let's not forget the last lap at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, where Jody Christie, riding the Honda Superbike, was involved in a touch and go with Jordan Zoke at corner 10 at the final lap of the race.
And that was 2015, Frank.
Thank you.
It's interesting because at that point, the softest tire choice available, the one that both Christie and Zoke were using 6 years ago, that is the tire that Dumas has chosen for the front, which is now considered a fairly conservative choice. Everybody else heading towards the soft, so it shows you that Dumas is comfortable going his own way. And speaking of going your own way, we have to go to a break, but we'll be right back at Calabogie.
We are back at Calabogie Motorsport Park, and we are working the last half of the last race of the 2021 Canadian Superbike National Championship. Trevor Daly we're looking at right now from the back of Jordan Zoke's bike, and he moves right up on the back tire of Zoke, and looks like he has a pass trying to get it made.
One of the interesting things about any chance you have to watch Trevor Daly ride is he's a very persistent fellow, and he is not one to just follow in the wheel tracks of the person in front of him. He's ready to pass at any given time. He's trying everything, and Trevor's impatient in a very good way, and this shows so well here in his chase of Zoke. He was pretty patient earlier in our first Superbike race of the day at Calabogie, but now that Zoke is no longer in contention, I would assume that Trevor's going to be a little more willing to put the pressure on in a more aggressive manner.
And Daly's lap time would indicate that he is circulating just a little bit faster, picking up the front wheel on that GSXR 1000. He pulls out to have a look as they come into Mulligan's, but no, he snuck right back in behind Zoke, and he will remain there for just now.
Now, one thing we have to mention, Frank, when we looked ahead, couldn't see any sign of our 2 leaders, and this is bad news for Ben Young because he really needs these 2 to help him, and they're just not quite fast enough today. Of course, the pace at the front with Dumas and Young is very impressive, but unlike most of the races this season, the others have not been able to hang in to keep up and participate.
Young must be very, very frustrated at this point in time. Daly, on the other hand, must be just salivating, waiting for his next opportunity to put the People's Champion in behind him.
Yeah, good shot here, looking backwards from that new Kawasaki Ninja that Zoke is utilizing this season. And he has been doing a lot of chassis and suspension work and trying a variety of tires, trying to get the most out of the bike. And we saw him dig out, in great style at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park in our last round. After a very difficult opening race, he won the next 2, and that was a lot of hard work. And you can see there the traction control not that cooperative with Jordan as he picks up the throttle and heads up the hill there. And now through this section, typically Daly has made up a little bit of ground on the brakes, which suggests Jordan isn't totally comfortable.
Yeah, and Daly has indeed made up that aforementioned distance. I would give them only about 3 bike lengths distance, and that's starting to disappear quickly as they go through What's Up and head up towards Wilson's. Here they come out of that right-hander, now into the left-hander. Straight away is straight ahead, and here comes Daly. Will he going to make a move going into turn number 1? We'll see. Don't forget, he's the one that made the pass into turn number 1 in the previous race. So Zoke having a look. No. I should say Daly having a look rather on Zoke.
No, and good pressure by Daly, but they are the whole front straight behind the leaders. And remember, at our opening rounds in Calabogie, nobody ever got anywhere near that far ahead. And this is what happens at the end of the season. The guys in points contention tend to really dig in and get the most out of their bike every corner, every lap. And when you don't have that same motivation, it's very, very hard to keep pace with the guys who are trying to win a title.
This is a great matchup between two great riders. Of course, Jordan Zoke, the greatest Superbike rider this country has ever produced, and one of our rising stars over the last few years has been Trevor Daley. He has not had a great deal of luck on his side, and nor has Zoke actually through this season.
And Daley has won nationals, but he has not won a Pro Superbike feature national. So that's sort of the last accomplishment short of a championship he's looking for. And of course, he's been a bit of a tail gunner this year because he has been helping Suzuki and Dumas in terms of winning that manufacturers championship, something new to the series that we've been discussing for years, and now that we have it, it's attracting a lot of attention. I think BMW would be a little surprised that it's Suzuki who are leading this championship, because over the last decade you would have bet that it would be a combination of BMW riders, but this year it has been the Suzuki guys who've been the most consistent.
There is just 2 laps left in this race. There's 2 laps left on the entire 2021 season, Colin. Our race leaders are so far ahead now and so far spread out that this is the race within the race. Jordan Zoke on the Canada General Warranty sponsored Kawasaki ZX-10R, and of course Trevor Daley right in behind him on the one-speed chop shop Suzuki GSXR 1000. Hang in, we'll be right back for the exciting completion. The 2021 CSBK season is brought to you by Yuasa Battery, Mopar, and Joe Rocket. And we are back. We are working lap number 7 of 8 and coming up to the final go-round, Colin, as they head into turn number 1. And oh man, it almost contact there between Daley and Zoke, and I think Zoke lost traction.
Watching that battle for third, and Zoke more or less checked up when he spun the tire. This completely surprised Daley, who of course is trying to get the drive, and it was as close as it could be without contact. Let's hear from Hannah about the constructors' battle.
Thanks, guys. Suzuki is currently set to clinch the 2021 Constructors' Championship. Trevor Daley on the one-speed Suzuki is currently battling Jordan Zoke for 3rd place and is hoping to repeat his podium performance from last race. Back to you guys.
And there you could see Jordan's bike behaving somewhat erratically, it would seem, or at least unpredictably with the electronics. And while Trevor seems to be less intrusive, maybe he's turned down his TC a bit. In terms of rider's aids, it seems like Jordan's having a bit of an issue, and of course that was a problem at our opening round at Calabogie.
And here we are with our race leader, Alex Dumas, leading Ben Young. And Young has closed up some distance here as we have just over a lap to go. We're working lap number 7 of 8. And if Braveheart has got something up his sleeve, he needs to, A, get a little bit closer, and B, pull it out.
Dumas is looking for 4 for 4 at Calabogie, 4 out of 7 on the season. And of course, this is his rookie season in any class in CSBK, an incredible debut with the series. Of course, 2 Moto America victories in terms of championships in his career already. Not bad resume for a 19-year-old, but right now he's controlling the pace. He's led from the restart, but Young has caught back up, and he's going to see his pit board, get some information. And I guess the tough question is, do you try and do one more lap at a good pace and finish off the season in style, or do you maybe decide discretion is the better part of valor? Young has closed up incrementally, but it's actually a lot more than incrementally now.
Yes, and he laid a big blackie there coming down through turn number 1. He looks to the inside of Dumas coming out of Gilles and heading up now towards that left-hander. Dumas still with the race lead. Young coming on strong, but nothing to be had there. He's got to get closer, Colin. He's got to get into that soft air that I like referring to, and he's not there.
Too far back into Sir John A. He did make up a little bit of distance, but you get into these long sequences of turns that join together, and Dumas' precision is so important. And I don't mean Ben Young isn't precise. No. He's very precise, but Dumas is remarkable in his ability to hit all his marks in a sequence of turns where there's an awful lot of things to balance. And don't forget, he's got close to 190 horsepower to play with.
Quite so, and he is within a couple of bike lengths now. He is there. Braveheart is there. And let's not forget that Dumas is not infallible. He has fallen at this track before. As a matter of fact, at the first round, and look back from Dumas's bike now, and you can see Braveheart trying ever so hard to line him up. He looks to the inside, nothing to be had there. Now he looks to the outside. That's a long way around, Colin.
I think he's trying to reverse the math here, and he is close enough to make something happen, but Dumas is aware of him. That's as close as they they've been the whole time. But now I think it's going to get a lot harder because Dumas is very difficult to deal with. He is so precise in these upcoming sections. There's basically one more passing opportunity. It's 2 turns from here.
And Ben Young, at this point on the racetrack, last lap around, we saw it as well with the distance increasing significantly now as Dumas brings it down into what's up through the last 3 corners of this racetrack. The right-hander now through up onto the Wilsons now, the 20th corner on this racetrack. Dumas comes out of the corner. He's hard on the gas, and the checkered flag awaits him. Ben Young can do nothing but a wheelie to celebrate a second-place finish.
Yeah, wonderful effort from Dumas. Great wheelie from Young, trying for his second championship. But here's that battle for the last podium.
This is what we've been waiting for, and it looks like Daly's got the inside line now. That's going to give Zoke the inside line on 20, but Daly closes the door on him. Trevor Daly has moved up into podium position. He has gotten 3rd spot on the Suzuki, so it's Suzuki, BMW, Suzuki, Kawasaki, our top 4.
It's nice to see these two celebrate their win without winding up in a heap. That's progress, certainly, because we had a little bit of drama when we were at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, but you can see, as with Tremblay earlier, that Dumas, it's starting to sink in. Hey, I just did the thing that this is all about.
This is what I came home for. Alex Dumas now on this celebratory wheelie. Colin, let's check the final standings.
Looking past our top 3, Michael Leon, solid 7th, and that gives him the Pro 6 Regional Championship. And also worth mentioning that Thomas Kazaz, TV Tommy, was not in this race after crashing in our opener. Now let's hear from our very own Frank Wood at the podium.
Wow. You laid down the law that time, didn't you?
Yeah. It was a heck of a race. It was a lot of fun. The first start, I saw Ben pass me in turn 2. So I just followed him for a lap and a half until the red flag came out. So then we went back out, and I got an even better start than the first time. So I just put my head down and just pounded the laps, and even managed to get a small gap on Ben, and then try to manage it the whole race. So yeah, I'm really happy about my win, my both wins today. And really happy to take home the championship also.
It was a great race. We were pushing hard. We've had our small gremlins along the year and kind of comes down to the point that it gets you, it's the small things, as you know, we've had the problems with the starts all year. So it's these small things that, mean so much in a championship. So it's, there was no lack of effort for sure. We did our best. We had a problem with the bike in race 1, and we managed to fix that for race 2. So we just didn't get the start we needed, and it put us at a big deficit going into corner 1 in 4th place. And we fought back hard and tried everything I could at the end, and just wasn't enough. So we'll be back for some more next year.
Looking at our final points, and there you can see the top 3 who battled throughout. Daly climbs up to 4th. Tremblay riding 2 different Kawasaki's to 5th overall. Very good effort by Royds in his rookie pro season. You can't do better than that, and he winds up ahead of Casas, Leon, Fortin, and Hayek.
There is the number 1 plate being presented to Alex Dumas, and the crowd reacting to that. And of course, having 2 Suzukis on the podium really helped to clinch that Constructors' Championship. There now is the Canada Cup. This is what they've been fighting for all year long, and Alex Dumas will add his name to that Canada Cup. A lot of famous names on that. Thank you very much for being with us. We'll see you next year.